So I recently saw a tweet by a British entrepreneur called Daniel Presley, and it was a very interesting tweet because he said that they don't build applications or services unless there's proof that they can generate a ton of leads. And I was thinking that that makes a lot of sense. Like, why would you build any kind of system or any agency or whatever your product is if you can't drive leads, if you can't drive customers? Okay, so that got me thinking, and I decided to create the monster of all lead generation systems using Make, using OpenAI's ChatGPT, and using Apify to scrape these leads. Okay, so before we get started, do me a solid, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and let's get started. So welcome to Lead Genosaurus. This is my Make automation that can basically scrape any platform that I desire, okay? And it uses Apify. So if you're following me, if you're following this channel, you know that Apify is my preferred choice for scraping, okay? So the way this works is that it will actually trigger from a message that I sent to myself in a private Slack group, okay, or Slack channel. The next module is an AI assistant. So it's going to extract the information that I need, and it's going to create JSON variables. And I'll show you exactly how that works. And obviously we're going to build it together, right? So there's a few platforms here. Now I've built out Google Maps, but I'll show you how to do the LinkedIn ones, the Instagram ones, the TikTok, YouTube, and whatever else you want to scrape, okay? It's entirely up to you. You can make this as big or as small as you want, okay? So the first one is going to scrape Google Maps. It's going to grab the data, the source, and then it's going to save it into a Google Sheets, right? So the Google Sheet is the same for every single platform. It's just using a different tab, right? That's the way I've done it. You could do it however you want. You can also do this on Airtable, by the way, but I've kept it simple, and I'm using Google Sheets, so it's okay. So let me just run this and I'll show you exactly how this works, okay? So I'm going to bring up Slack. I've got a message here that I'm going to paste. Let's see if that works. Oh, just copy and paste it twice. Let me try again. And let's run that. So I want restaurants in New York City from Google Maps. Okay, so I'm very clear that I want restaurants in New York City from Google Maps, okay? So let's just run this now inside of Make, and then you'll see how it works. So it's come through the scrape trigger module, which is Slack. It's identified what it needs. So if I look at the result here, it knows that the niche is restaurants, it knows the city is New York, and it knows the platform is Google Maps, okay? Then based on the filter here, it's gonna run the actor for Google Maps inside Apify. So that's running now. And I think I'm only scraping like 5 results or something like that. And then it's gonna output everything into this Google Sheets here. So this is some results I scraped earlier. Can actually delete these. Don't actually need these now. It's going to overwrite it anyway. So just wait for that to run. Let's see if it's finished. Still running the scraper. Once it's done, it will grab the data set items, which is the source, and then it's going to save it into leads. Okay. But you can see here that I've actually got different tabs for each platform. Okay, and I've actually built out Google Maps, but honestly, it's the same for all of the different platforms. You just got to change a couple of things. Okay, and I'll show you exactly how you do that. So you can see here, I've got 5 results. These are restaurants. You've got the title, you've got the address. So you can do like a mail marketing if you wanted to do. You can send them a flyer. You've got the websites where it's available, and you've got a phone number as well. Okay, so wherever it's available. This one's got a parser. I'm not sure why, but this is just 5 results. But if you obviously got to scrape hundreds of thousands with this scenario. Okay, so how do we build this? How does this work? Let me go into a new scenario maker inside of Make, and I'll show you, and we'll build it out together, okay? Just wait for it to load. And so the trigger that I'm going to use is Slack, okay? And so we'll just go over to Slack, and then you can watch a public channel message, or you can do it privately. I did it privately because I've got a team, I've got people inside, like other clients inside of my Slack, so I don't want them to see it. And then you connect it up to your Slack. So just you go follow the API process, and then from the input method, you can select from the list, right? So I've got a few, so it's this one here, the lead scraper channel that I've just created for this. And then for the limit, you can just leave it as 2, okay? And then from when you want to do it, from now on, it's fine, it's totally fine, okay? Then the next thing you want to do is you want to add a ChatGPT OpenAI module. Okay, for this I'm just going to use a completion, and then I'm going to connect it up to the correct account because I've actually got some client API accounts here. So I'm going to select the right one. The model for this I've used 4.0 system because it's the latest one. I'm already paying for OpenAI, so for me it's fine. You could do for a mini. It's a very basic task that we're asking ChatGPT to do here, and the reason we're doing that is because we can create dynamic variables for each message that you type into Slack. Okay, and that's the reason I'm doing it. Okay, so the way you want to set this up is basically go back into the original. We're just going to zoom into this one here because I've already got it set up, so I'm just going to copy and paste it here, and then I'll go through it with you. Okay, and I'll show you exactly why I've done it this way. So I'm using a system, a user, and an assistant, and you'll see why. Okay, because I need to give it specific instructions on how to output that information. Okay, so the first role is a system role, and I always do this. I always set the context. Okay, so your job is to extract details from Slack. Okay, extract detail messages from Slack. Okay, so we're going to use that here, which is just a system role, and that's so far so good. Okay, the next one is a user role. Okay, so review the text. So the text field is coming from Slack, right? And extract the niche, the city name, and the platform type. Okay, output the results into JSON. Right, so JSON is the JavaScript language that I'm using for this, and then I've created 3 variables. Okay, so scrape niche, scrape city, and scrape platform. Okay, and so this is going to be the output, and then there's one more that you want to set up. So let's just copy this before I move on to that one. Okay, so we're just going to copy this. Now I'm not going to have the text because I haven't run it in this one. Okay, so what you need to do is just create a user, paste this in, and then just run the text. Just run the private channels module here, right? If you haven't done so, and then it'll pull in all these fields that you can map, and it's a text, number 1 text that you want. Okay, so that's all there and good. And then the next one you want to do is an assistant. Okay, because now we're going to tell it what we want it to do. Okay, so the user, think of user as so the way to basically understand these roles, system is context, right? User is what you want them to do, and assistant is the output. What does it look like, right? Now we're going to need that because just the user role in itself is not going to be enough. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to copy this and give it examples. Now the personal trainer, it's not obviously a fixed variable, right? That's going to come from the text here. So in the example that I ran on the channel here is I want restaurants in New York City from Google Maps. Okay, so these are 3 variables. The niche is restaurants, right? The city is New York City, and then the platform is Google Maps. So we're just gonna head over here. I'm gonna add an assistant, okay? And then I'm gonna paste that here, okay? That's it. That's all you wanna do. And these examples can be whatever you want it to be, right? Because remember, it's gonna pull it from the text and it's gonna replace these variables with the output. And you'll see here, if I go back to the original, you'll see here that it did work, right? So the results were the scrape niche variable was restaurants, the scrape city was New York City, and then the scrape platform was Google Maps, okay? But had I changed this to personal trainers, Los Angeles, LinkedIn, then the output would have been very different, okay? And then head over back to the build, and then there's one more thing that we want to do. So we want to go to advanced options. The response format is going to be JSON, right? Because we are asking it to create variables, these variables, right, which is JSON, and then we're going to ask them to assign the kind of gaps, right, from the text. Okay, so it has to be JSON, right, and you will definitely want to pass the JSON. Okay, passing JSON just means that you can use it later down the flow. Okay, and then everything else, just going to save that and leave that as it is. Okay, so the third module is going to be a router because we've got different routes on this. If you go back to here, we've got quite a few right now. Like I said, you can make this as big or small as you want. I haven't all of these out because I wanted to keep this video as short as possible, but it's the same process and I'll show you exactly how that works. Okay, so the first one is run actor. Okay, and I'm gonna show you exactly how to do that. So like I said before, I actually use API for all my scraping. Okay, so find the API module, get run an actor. Okay, now connect it to an account. Now you can actually do this on the free plan, right? I actually pay for Apify, so I'm just going to go into my paid account. And for this one, I'm using the Google Maps scraper by Compass, I believe. I don't think there's any other ones. Yeah, okay, so Compass, and then we are going to run it synchronously. That means that it just the next part of the flow. So basically, what it says here, right, is the scenario will wait until the actor run is finished. Okay, so that's what we want. Because otherwise, if you are scraping like hundreds of thousands of leads, right, if you are going to scale this up, then this could be running on, it could be running for hours. So you don't want it to kind of time out, okay? And then for the rest of it, you need to go into Apify. So this is Apify, and the actor that I'm using for this is the Google Maps scraper by Compass. Okay, so if you're not familiar with Apify, Apify is just a marketplace of scrapers, right? It's my preferred solution for scraping because it's very affordable. I pay for it. I pay like $49 a month, but you can actually do this on the free plan, which will give you $5 in free credits. And as the name suggests, it's just a marketplace. There's 3,000 plus pre-built actors. So think of all the best platforms, the most popular platforms like TikTok, you got Instagram, you got Google Maps, you got YouTube, LinkedIn, whatever you want to scrape, you can scrape it, okay? So I'm going to use the Google Maps scraper by Compass here, and you can see it's very affordable, right? Like even if you did this on the free plan, you can get almost 1,000 results just on Google Maps, right? With a free plan, and even $6 a month is still very affordable. You can scale this, you can sell this as a service, right? It's really cool. So if I go into information here, this will show you exactly what you can scrape. There's a ton of stuff you can scrape on the Google Maps, right? But for this example, I've only just scraped the title, the address, the website, and the phone number, right? Just to keep it simple. But I mean, look at all these variables that you can scrape. There's quite a lot here, right? If you wanted opening times, promoter status, accessibility information, if you wanted location, price, website. Website is a good one, right? You definitely want website, you definitely want phone number, because you could do a lot of cold calling, cold outreach with them. Okay, so if I head back into input, and we're gonna need one more thing. We're gonna need the JSON. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this JSON. Actually, was it that one? Let me just double check. Let me just double check which scraper I used. Compass crawler, yeah. It's the Google Map scraper, not the extractor. Okay, so let me go back. It's this one here, Google Map scraper. And then so you see these fields here, search terms, these are very dynamic, right? So if you were to do this manually, you would have to add this here, okay? You'd have to add the location, you'd have to add the number of places, per extract, the language if you wanted that, everything else as well. Or you can automate it with AI, okay? So for that, you're gonna need the JSON. Okay, and I'll show you exactly how that works. Now, don't be scared if you see, if you're not somebody who is a programmer, this stuff is really easy. So copy this and then paste it into where it says input JSON. Okay, now you can see here that it's not very tidy. Okay, so the one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to head over to jsonformatter.org. I'm going to paste it here and I'm going to beautify it, and you'll see why in a second. Right, so paste that. If everything's okay, you can format and beautify it this side, and then this side it looks much tidier. Okay, so let's copy this. Let's paste it back into, because this is very messy, right? But if you see it now, this is much easier to work with, right? Can you see? And so we've got the variables that have been assigned as JSON variables, right? Once we run this, as you can see here. So if I go back into this module here, I remember just run it, right? All you gotta do is just run it once. The results are gonna be the scrape niche, scrape city, and scrape platform, right? Now I've created this. Remember, I put it into the prompt that I want you to output the JSON in the following variables. And the reason I'm doing that is because I need these variables because I can map them inside of here, okay? So I could actually, if you go inside of this example, because I haven't run it in the one that I'm building, but if you go inside of this example, you see the result. I can actually take the variable out for location query and put that in, and it's coming from this module here, okay? The same is true for niche. And if you wanted to, you could actually do the same for the crawl searches. So for this, I've set it to 5 just for the sake of this video, but you could actually have another variable in here for max searches. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do in here. You can have variables for all of these things if you wanted to, if this is the information that you want, right? But I've just kept it simple with just 3 variables on this video, just to make it easier to build, right? And then you replace it with this. Now, it's not going to show up on the one that we're building together because I haven't ran the module, right? So make sure you run this module before you map it, okay? So if I just paste this in here, you'll see that it is black because this module hasn't run, right? On this side, where I did run it on this video, you can see it's there, okay? So just remember that. And then the next thing you want to do is you want to get the dataset items, okay? Because each scraper has a different set of data. So let's just grab it from here. And then you want this module here. And then for dataset ID, you just take it from the previous module, okay, which is this one here. And then for everything else, you can leave it as it is. And the limit here, you can actually map it from another field. If you did have it as a JSON variable from the OpenAI module, then you can plug that in, right? Because that's always going to be dynamic variables, right? So you basically want to automate this as much as possible. The only manual kind of heavy lifting, quote unquote, if you want to call it that, is just the message that you type into Slack, okay? I'm just going to leave this as it is. And then the output, you just want to create a Google Sheet. Okay, so for this, I've created lead Genosaurus. I put in title, address, website, phone. Right now, remember, you can put whatever columns you want in there, right? If you want more, because I mean, it comes out with a ton of columns. So I'll show you exactly what it comes out with, okay? So for the output, you've got all of this, right? You've got status, you've got, what does it show? Let me just go into, I can't remember where it actually brings it up. Let me just see if I can. There's a lot of fields in here. Can't remember exactly where it is. But if I go into here, you'll see it. Right, so if I want to map more, you'll see these are all the fields that you can scrape, right? And you can add and save into your lead generation sheet on Google, okay? So there's a lot of stuff here, a lot of variables, and yeah, you can make this as complicated or as simple as you want, okay? So for this, not this one, I want to go into here. I've just saved 5 because that's the example that I set. So you just want to connect it up to a Google Sheets module, and I'll show you how to do that. But for title, you just map title, right? So you see here, you got title after dataset items, okay? So let me go into here. I'll show you what that looks like. So these are all the fields that you can scrape, right? So you've got title, subtitle, description, price, category name, address, neighborhood, city, street, postal code, state, website, phone. I mean, it's empty, so it's going to be empty on the sheet. You got located at, reviews, if you want to do some kind of review, SEO kind of service, you can scrape all that. Opening hours, if you need to know that. I mean, there's a lot of information here, okay? So just to keep it simple, what I did was I just took the following modules, the following fields. So title, address, website, and phone. That's it, okay? Now, to set this up, what you want to do is you just want to add a Google Sheets module. So let's just do that together. And this time you want to add a row, okay? Because you've already got the sheet, right? The sheet's already created. And then here, you select the name of the sheet. So make sure you just connect it up to the correct Gmail or G Suite account, right? And then for this, we're just going to do lead Genosaurus, right? And the sheet name, it will just, depending on which part of the flow it is, this is going to be Google Sheets, right? Or Google Maps, sorry. And then it does contain headers. So headers are these things here. It's basically row 1, right? That's headers. Okay, so mine does contain headers. So I do want to include that. And then you've got the fields. Okay, and then you just map the correct fields. You're not going to see it here because I haven't run this automation. But if I go back to here, you can see that you will have all these fields from the get dataset items grab source module that I've created, okay? And that's basically it. That's really it, right? You save that. And then all you need to do is just basically, you duplicate these 3 modules, right? So take this, take this, take this. What are we gonna do? We're gonna come back here, we're gonna copy, delete this one, and then we're gonna paste, okay? And all you wanna do is basically move this and then connect it up. But this time, remember the first one was Google Maps, right? The second one is LinkedIn. So this time what you want to do is go inside of here, change the scraper, just find the LinkedIn one. Now there's hundreds and hundreds. I mean, I've got LinkedIn here, I've got LinkedIn profile scraper. So I just select the LinkedIn profile scraper. And remember, you have to change the JSON, okay? So to do that, you find the correct scraper. So for this one, I'm just gonna find something, LinkedIn profile. I think it is the Curious Coder, the one that I'm using for this. All right, for the input, you wanna get the JSON. So just grab this, copy, paste it, and then now you wanna basically get rid of this, right? Because this is for the Google Maps scraper, and you wanna paste this. Again, remember, if you don't like it, just go into this here and beautify it, okay? Which is what I do, because I like to see it nice, right? I wanna make sure that it looks good. Okay, so copy that, go back into the automation, just highlight all of this, and then just paste it. See, it looks a lot easier, right? A lot nicer. And then you just wanna basically export the variables, right? Let me see if I did that. If I did that one, let me just double check. I think I set up this one. So yeah, you see this here. Keywords is scrape niche and scrape city. That's it. And then number of pages, you can have that as a dynamic variable. Just remember to create a JSON for that in the OpenAI Assistant module, and then you'll have the output as, I don't know, num pages. It'll be the same as this, okay? And that's it. You just literally go through all of these. If you want to build Instagram, you've got TikTok, you've got YouTube, there's scrapers for all of this, right? So if you go inside of here, go to store, if you just type in Instagram, right, there's a scraper. I mean, there's hundreds of scrapers in here for, you know, Instagram, TikTok. Just find the one that you like. If you're not sure what it does, click inside and go into the information tab, okay? The information tab will show you exactly what you can scrape, right? So you can scrape the profile for this particular scraper, okay? Which is, they call it actors. So for this particular one, you can scrape the profile, you can scrape reels, you can scrape posts, hashtags, mentions, post checker, I don't know what that is, comments, follow count, which might be useful if you want to target, like, you know, competitors or influencers, etc. And then just go through all of these, right? And you can do this for any platform you want, right? Like I've just used these as an example, right? So the most popular platforms in the world, right? So certainly for social media and Google, right? But if you wanted to target, say, real estate agents, right? Well, you can scrape Zillow, right? Zillow is a very popular real estate, I guess it's a website, like a buying, selling website for homeowners. But you can actually scrape agent details as well. So if you want to sell an automation to agents, real estate agents, you can run this. You can add this to your lead Genosaurus monster, right? You can make it as big or small as you want. Okay, so I hope you understand the power of this solution. It's a very cost-effective solution. You can actually get started with a free plan on Apify. Everything else is free. Apart from this module here, you probably want to top it up for like a couple of dollars inside of your platform.openai.com account, because you will need AI for this particular example. If you don't want to use AI, you can actually use variables, set variables, okay? So you could actually put in a set variable, but then you have to manually code these. Okay, so if, for example, if it's roofers, you'll need a set variable for roofers. If it's personal trainers, you need a set variable for personal trainers, etc., right? It's a bit more clunky, right? The AI version is much better because you can actually type in whatever you want into Slack or Telegram or whatever, right? And it will extract the necessary details from that, okay? So I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.